guess people didn't get too much sleep last night. It seems like I saw you guys just a couple hours ago. Thanks everybody for coming. As always, I'd like to start out by thanking the DeVos family for their patience and support and vision. Alex Martins for assembling our crew and allowing us to build what we hope will be a winning program for many, many years. This is a very exciting day for us. It's not often that you can come away from a draft and feel that you've added such immense talent and character in one night. And I can tell you, as I told you guys last night, that we were elated. I think a few of our guys slept here actually. I hope you guys didn't drive home last night. But before we open it up, I just want to say that we've always said since we've been here that we are going to build this the right way, not the fast way, and we're adding people who we believe will have the wherewithal to navigate the NBA in such a fashion that will put us in a position to sustain a winning program for many years. And these guys all embody that. So thanks again for being here. And we open up to Q&A?
Yes, we'll open up to Q&A now for our people watching on OrlandoMagic.com. As usual, if you can please wait for a microphone and state your name and affiliation.
John Denton, OrlandoMagic.com. Can you just talk about what the last 16 hours have been like, the emotions, and now that you're here in the building, holding up the jersey, what the journey feels like for you?
Before I answer that question, I just want to thank Greer Love. Yes, that's a real name, for being here, for being here and just kind of just being my guy since the 4th grade. But to answer your question, the last 16 hours has just been honestly a dream, and it's just funny to me how life has just come back into full circle. Being from New York, and going through what I've been through and going to the different places and experiencing what I experienced, and then having a special night right back in New York. It was very meaningful.
I'm going to interject here. So if Melvin and Justin, if you could talk about the last few hours, what they've been like for you as well.
Before I answer that, I just want to thank God, my family. Thank y'all, of course, for having me here. Blessed to have this opportunity. But the last 16 hours, however many hours, it's been like, it's just been like a dream, like he said, but like it's just unexplainable. I can't even explain the feeling. Like just looking at my mom and my family during that, just was emotions, a lot of joy and tears. And, just going to take advantage of this opportunity we have and try to make the best of it.
Before I answer that question, I just want to say thank you to my family, my parents and my little sister for traveling with me, and also Randy for being with me throughout this whole process. But honestly, the last 16 hours have been crazy. Just not knowing exactly where you're going to end up. There was a lot of suspense, but I was in the room with a lot of great people. It was a very intimate situation, close family and friends that have been with me and been with me on this journey since the beginning. So, it was grateful. It was a blessing to hear my name called, and I just feel like it was God's plan. So at the end of the day, it's just going to be out here working, show you guys why you made the right pick.
Christian Brewy, WFTV. Mo, there's been a lot written about your work leading up to the NBA draft. Not in a derogatory way. It seems as though you're a nerd for what makes a good shot and what makes a good offensive game. How would you describe how you approach the work that's gone into getting you to this point?
Well, to me, it's always been a matter of just me working on my craft and working on the art of it, and I firmly believe that you really can't develop as a player until you really understand who you are as a player and understand the adjustments you need to make as a player. So I had to learn the different dimensions. I had to learn different angles, and I kind of had to be a nerd in learning all of this. And I really took pride on it. You know, this pre-draft, I can look back on this and say one thing. I can look back on it and say I became a professional. Just a regimen of work that I've been putting in.
Jamie Say, WKMG. Mo, you played with Jonathan Isaac in high school. What's your relationship with him like, and have you been envisioning what it's going to be like to be on the court with another guy with that kind of length?
Yeah, John is an awesome dude. You guys probably know, but he's from the Bronx originally, and as soon as I heard that, I kind of gravitated towards him, see if he was really from New York. He wasn't. But in high school, we played against each other on different camps. He was everywhere, and I really kind of resonated with him because we shared a similar body and kind of he was a guy who really stretched the floor and could really shoot it, and he was a class ahead of me. So I looked to him for guidance and whatever.
Aaron Goldstone, SB Nation, Orlando Pinstripe Post for Melvin. Talk about, as a Louisiana native, what it means to be first player over 20 years that's been drafted out of Tulane, and also talk about your coach, Mike Dunleavy Sr., and his NBA background and what that brought to you as a player and how you reached this position today.
I mean, it was good, coming from Louisiana, come from a small school. So, I mean, I don't really get as much attention that I should, but I mean, I just went out there and just played basketball. At the end of the day, that's all it's about. And, I just take pride in my defense, and that just kind of got me on the grid. But playing for Mike, it was good. Come from the NBA, he taught me a lot. Just basketball, period. He got me in the gym. This is what I need to work on this, work on that. And as it shows, my numbers improved in each category. So I kind of feel the stats, and I just want to thank him for that. And just like that, at the end of the day, just playing basketball.
Evan Fitzgerald, Fox 35. Mo, the legacy of big men here at this franchise is pretty amazing. What does it mean to you to step in with a franchise that's had guys the likes of Shaq and Dwight leading the way as big men over the years?
Yeah, first thing I did was call Shaq and ask him, can I have his Orlando home? He hasn't replied yet, so you guys wish me luck with that. But it's awesome, it's just, you can see kind of the outreach of this organization. And if you really look at the type of character Shaq and Dwight, the character and the personality those guys had, it really coped well with the city, and I'm just looking to kind of integrate that in my own experience.
Well, John Denton again, can you just talk about how much of a different player you are from that game against Nevada? You took 1-3 that time, and you said you've shot 200,000 since then. How different of a player are you after what you've been through the last 2 months, 3 months?
I keep saying this, but it's really night and day as far as just my general confidence and my shot and in my moves and in everything. It's just when you add this level of just training, it really elevates your game to the next level, and I'm really excited to get out there and play.
Melvin, Danny Thompson, Florida National News. How ironic is it that your last 2 college games were in Orlando? You played UCF in the last game of the regular season, and then your last game was in the American Conference Tournament. How ironic to be your first NBA game is going to be literally right across the building that you played your final 2 games in?
It's crazy. I mean, it's kind of like I dreamed of this. And like you said, the last 2 games we played was down here, and I had a pretty good game. So kind of got the feel for it and just ready for whatever comes.
Christian Brewer, WFTV. Coach, could you talk about Mo's game and what you see in him and how he can take you to the next level offensively and develop into an NBA star?
Well, first of all, he has he has two strengths that usually translate more than any other. Rebounding from college to the NBA almost always translate, as does, I think, shot blocking. And when you watch him play, those are obviously the first two things that stand out. For me, though, which is it's a general answer, but it's one of the things that excite me. I watch him play, and I see his feel for the game, his natural instincts, anticipation, and how to read things at both ends of the floor. So defensively, obviously, he's gifted and all that. Everybody see that. I see somebody who can play offensively, which is what our league is all about now, two-way players. And for his position, you want one of two things, and he can do both. Either to be able to play 5 out, where, he'll shoot threes, which, with all the work he's done, he may be able to do that right now today. If not, I don't think it'll take much time for him to do that. Or be a dynamic roller, which he also has the ability to do. So he's a fit to me at both ends of the floor, which is, it's critical now that they can play both offense and defense.
Justin, can you talk a little bit about how your shoulder is now, and also, was it difficult a decision to go ahead and come out, even though you didn't play that much this past season?
To answer your first question, my shoulder feels great. Honestly, some days I even forget I even had the injury. Just, I've been working ever since I got cleared a couple months ago. It was just like I hit the ground running 3 times a day. I was in there trying to get back to the player I know I could be. But, at the end of the day, I just feel like it's all about confidence and what's going on up top. And I'm ultimately confident in myself, confident in the organization that took a chance with me. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to put in that work. So that's all it's about.
Evan Fitzgerald, Fox 35. Jeff, they always say you can't have enough size. Certainly you have a lot of it now. How do you envision that kind of fitting together, the pieces sort of fitting together? And does that mean that there has to be some sort of roster tinkering to make it all work, or do you think that it can work as currently constituted?
You always want length, size in this league, skill, character. And, the rest of it, we're assembling a team with a lot of guys that we believe in. When you have the right kind of people, they figure it out. And everyone is on a different curve right now, and that's part of what we're going through at the stage of our team right now. Obviously, as we get closer to the season, some of these things will start to reveal themselves. But, we look forward to the summer of working through that, understanding where everybody is. And, those things tend to sort themselves out. Most importantly, the guys on this team will help each other. Those are the people that we have on this team. And when you have that sort of a group, good things happen.
Josh Robbins, Orlando Sentinel, is for Justin, Mo, and Melvin. What has been the best advice you've received from either current NBA players or former NBA players about your first season or first summer in the league and then first season in the league?
I'll start. But the common thing that I've heard from everybody I've spoken to and everybody that's reached out to me is that, being drafted is an honor and it's a blessing, but it's only the beginning. And, it's all good getting your name called. It's very cool. Like I said, it was an intimate situation with my family. Everybody was happy. But I know that there's still a long road of work ahead. And, like I said, I'm just going to lock in and be focused. So at the end of the day, everybody was just telling me, like, you got past the first obstacle. Now you just got to keep working and get back to the player that you knew you once was.
To piggyback off of what Justin was saying, I had a lot of similar advice. It was a common theme of just people saying that, you got your foot in the threshold now, and now it's just a matter of, just gaining an inch and just working your way so you can be one of those guys in the league who really stick around and do something special. And it's really what you put into it after you get in.
Just basically like what they said, common information. It's just like, I'm in the door now, so like a new chapter, and just got to make a name for yourself again, like we just had for ourselves. Now we got to come in and do it again. Let's put the work in.
Jamie Say, WKMG. Mo, just wondering, is there a lot of height in your family? And your parents have a pretty interesting backstory. I'm just wondering how much inspiration you draw from them.
There is, but there isn't. Like, it's just kind of odd. On the boys' side of, like, my brothers are all tall, at 6'7", 6'9", and obviously me at 7 foot. But there's a rumor that my great grandmother was 6'7", so I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's necessarily true, but it's a big woman. What was the second part of your question? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to cut you off, but absolutely. You know, not a lot of people know, but my mom hasn't, you know, she hasn't worked since I was very young. And basically what her job was just to take care of me. And it really, you know, as I was growing up, I would always try to do anything to sort of give back to my mom. And my dad is just amazing. And I didn't really get a full understanding for how much he's done for me in my life until I got, like, older, like 2 weeks ago. You know, as I got older, I started to really see the sacrifices he's made. And, you know, my dad works one of the hardest jobs in the world. You know, he drives a cab in New York City during the night shift. And, you know, it's not always safe. It's not always safe, and it's not, obviously not something you volunteer to do. And it's very strenuous on your body. But, you know, he made that sacrifice for me, and just his work ethic, it carried over to my life.
Christian Brewy, WFTV. Mo, I heard your dad moved back. Is he back in New York now, or is he back in the Ivory Coast?
He's back. He's back in New York. He was there last night. Yeah.
My other question was, Jeff told us last night that after your meeting with them in Chicago that they looked at each other and were blown away. Did you feel walking out of that room that you had put your best foot forward and felt like, hey, the Magic at 6 could be where I'm going to land?
I remember walking out of the meeting and actually texting Greer, like, got Orlando in the bag. No, no, it was all, to me, the meeting was all about just being as authentic as possible, you know, like, obviously, anyone can tell a story and anyone can smile in your face, but I really wanted them to feel me, you know. I had the pleasure and I was blessed to work with David Griffin, and he was telling me, you know, you really want these guys in the front office to feel you. You don't want to just sit there and just be a robot. And I think that's what I did with these guys, and I guess they fell in love.
Justin, you shot about 44% from 3 your freshman year, and I know your efficiency took a little bit of a dip last year, probably had a lot to do, I think, with your shoulder. Do you see yourself in the NBA as more of like a modern stretch 4 with your ability to shoot and stretch defenses? Do you see yourself as kind of a positionless forward, or how do you see yourself in the NBA?
I mean, I see myself as a positionless player just because of how well I can impact the game without necessarily scoring. I could do a lot. I could rebound. I can push the ball in transition. I enjoy finding people. So, like, I'm unselfish. I feel like that's one of my greatest qualities. And I can knock down a shot. I can space the floor. I can also attack closeouts. I mean, there's a lot I can do. It just doesn't matter. Whichever way coach wants to use me, I'm going to do my best to impact the game from that spot, regardless of role. It doesn't, like, at the end of the day, it's just going out there and giving 100%. It's just basketball. I mean, I've been doing this since I was young. I love playing. I feel like the game comes natural to me, and, you know, hopefully when I get out on that floor, you'll always see what I'm talking about.
Okay, we have time for a few more. Josh?
Josh Robbins, Orlando Sentinel. Mo, it takes some courage to ask someone to either sell you their house or give you their house. How did you first meet Shaq, or just strike up enough of a rapport with him to kid around with him like that?
I don't really even know him. I just texted him out of nowhere and just said, "Can I have your house?" Yeah. No, I'm actually really good friends with Sharif O'Neal and Shakir. Sharif was actually like, I remember first meeting him at an elite camp, and he was just like a young buck. Like I was a young buck, and I didn't really know what to expect. But this was like his first camp in this kind of a setting, and he was just like he was a deer in the headlights. Like he didn't really know what to expect. He was just like all ears, and I remember, playing with him, and I was just like, listen, like I didn't really know who he was. I didn't know he was Shaquille O'Neal's son. And I just, came over to him, and he looked like he needed some guidance. And I was like, listen, like, you need to dunk everything. And he was like, all right, bet, got you. And he caught a dunk in the game, and I was on the bench, and I, like, pretty much ran on the floor just cheering for him. And then, like, as the camp went on, like, I think at the end of the camp, I think I saw his mom, and I was like, wait, is that? I was like, is that? And it was like, yeah, like some of the guys were just like, yeah, that's Shaq's son. And I was like, oh. And after that, we kind of just had this like organic relationship. And whenever I'm in LA, like he'll, just come and just kick it, and we get in the gym or whatever. And he's honestly a great kid. And then Shaq himself, he watched me play in a hoop hall a couple years back, my senior year at Westtown, and that's when I first got in contact with him. Exchanged numbers, and then I saw him again in LA, and that's when I kind of really been in contact with him.
Mo, you told us in Chicago that eventually people would see that you're the best talent in this draft, that your talent would show itself. Do you think you can be kind of revolutionary at the center position? There's not a lot of centers who shoot threes, who run the way you do, get the length you have. Can you be a revolutionary type player at that position?
Absolutely. I think I have all the tools and the intangibles to be that kind of that trend-setting big that the league is now kind of looking at, and the league really wants. But it really, having the tools and the intangibles really mean nothing unless you're surrounded by the best. And one thing I can say about the Orlando Magic's organization is the attention to detail that they've paid throughout the draft process and the pre-draft process. Like, this was the team that was always like, they always harped on how big character was, but they always it actually reminded me of Texas, how like detail oriented they was with just anything. And I'm really looking forward to get on the court. I'm really looking forward to developing here into that player that you just said.
Mo, James Hill with the Florida Courier. Talk about being here and being part of this organization and moving forward in the rebuild.
It's going to be awesome. There's a common theme here with just the players, and I think the common theme here is character. And I was just talking to women here that this league is literally going to be set on fire with that combination of both high intellect, high IQ, and high character, yet very talented players, and I just can't wait to be a part of that.
All right. Any final question? One more, Christian. Last question.
Coach, have you heard from any, I assume these three will be with you for the Summer League in Vegas. I know you've told the story of how Kemba came when you took over in Charlotte. Have you heard from any of the veteran players that may be going out to Vegas to kind of get into the system?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of them are going to actually come and try to meet these guys, watch practice and stuff. I don't think that, to be honest, our younger guys are all playing. It was different with Kemba had only been in the league 2 years, so it was a little bit different with him. But no, I think, we're going to have a number of our guys, they're pretty much all playing. So, yeah, we'll have full participation out there.
All right. Thank you very much.